guys are the best in the league. We know that.
All right, this will make you scratch your head. Back here at Brian Westbrook, and we're going viral. Odell Beckham Jr. has spent his offseason recruiting with his most recent efforts focused on a chimp and a lion. And if you follow OBJ on Instagram, there are a number of interesting videos. This one of them.
All right, we might have differing opinions on the set about this. This looks like maybe the most fun thing to do in the world. If you know you're not going to get mauled by those animals.
Well, how do you know that?
Well, I assume.
Well, you just removed it. I mean, they're a wild animal. You just removed that.
Well, I don't know. I got to see what the sanctuary they're in, the type of training they've got. I don't know. I know that looks like an enormous amount of fun.
Okay, just Google. All right. Monkey eating face.
Right.
Okay.
It happens. It happens. It only needs to take one time for that to happen, for it to be out on.
I mean, there used to be a day where guys just wanted to be good at, you know, what, basketball, football, baseball. Like,
and now?
It used to be, now that ain't even that important.
Yeah,
like,
guys wanted to perfect their craft and get better in the offseason, never took a day off. Now it's a little bit different.
Dude, he don't know if he wants to play with Eli, but he can play with a tiger, with a monkey.
Like you're saying, we couldn't go back in the archives and find video of you and any wild animal sharing a ice pop.
No,
I don't want to live in a world where a man, after making another Pro Bowl, can't go spend some time at an animal sanctuary.
No, I just had some small goals in life. I just wanted to get away from the creatures, the roaches I was living with. That's just small little things. Not no traveling around the world, no wild animals. No, I'm not about that.
Different world.
But hey, man,
different
go ahead.
world.
Enjoy yourself. Live your life.
Don't they throw their poo-poo at you, too? Don't they do that?
They didn't. They didn't, though. You run that risk. Just
all right, Brian.
The face getting ripped off.
The Rams enjoyed their bye last week, waiting to see who they'd host in the division round this weekend. Turns out it'll be a hot Cowboys team led by a quarterback in Dak Prescott with a ton of confidence right now, and a running back in Exekiel Elliott, who's been great all season. In fact, this game could come down to a battle of the two best running backs in the NFL, with Zeke and Todd Gurley. And head coach Sean McVay says they've got a lot in common, these two.
When you look at Zeke, I think he's, similar to Todd, one of the most complete backs in the league, extremely productive. I think he's got the ability to go through you or go around you with speed. He's gotten a lot more involved in the pass game this year. I think he's truly a complete back, and you could see that, a lot of what they do is predicated on, just him getting a bunch of touches.
All right, Brian, let's talk about the way both of these teams, the Rams and the Cowboys, use their running backs to help them. Are they different the way each of them do?
Well, when I look at the Rams, I kind of feel like they actually want to pass the ball a lot more. They certainly will use one of the best backs in the league, Todd Gurley, and get him 25, 30 carries a game. But I feel like they want to be a passing team. They want to have explosive plays down the field. But when I look at the Cowboys, they want to run the football 30 times a game, throw the ball only 25 times a game, and dominate on the ground, pound the rock down your throat until the defense says, okay, we've had enough. We don't want to see 21 at all anymore. And so when I look at the two backs, I love the way both of them play. Listen, both of these guys can catch the ball out of the backfield. Both of these guys are a big-time threat in the running game. But when I watch Zeke, that's the guy that I love even just a little bit more. We're talking about splitting hairs here.
Absolutely.
But I just love the way he goes out there and he said, listen, I'm going to take it to you every single time. I'm going to take your will away to play in the third and fourth quarter. To me, that's a dominant nature, dominant mindset.
So I find it really interesting that you appreciate or like Zeke more, even like you said, it's marginal. When I feel like Gurley's more of the style you were, more of the dual threat player, right? Like Gurley reminds, I know you guys have different body types, but Gurley reminds you more of yourself than Zeke does, correct?
Oh, no, there's no doubt about it. I was never a guy that was, I'm not going to punish you. I'm not going to try to make you miss and try to get to the edge and get out of bounds if I could. But Todd Gurley, when you talk about Todd, he has lateral quickness. He's big. He's physical when he needs to be, but he's a little bit more finesse than Zeke. And I'm not trying to bash Todd because he's a great back, but Zeke is one of these downhill, I want to run you over type of backs. Todd can run away from you and run around you in a different way. I love both of these guys, though.
One is, we have to ask ourselves, the question is, what type of NFL are we going to see in week number 2? We saw the defenses tighten up in week number 1, the wild card. Now, based on the spreads and what Vegas is saying, and we have the best offenses going, teams with the bye, it seems like they're going to score more points. But in the NFL, September, October, November, averaging 48 points a game. Now we're in January, only averaging 36 points a game. So what style of game are we going to see? And which one of these defensive lines is going to make up their mind before the game? Because you can't do it once the game starts. That we are not not going to let Ezekiel Elliott, we are not going to let Todd Gurley dominate this game. Because for me, Ndamukong Suh, we go out and get you in free aid. This is what we brought you here for.
Yeah.
Now, Dallas and the totality of what they send at you, like they're going to try to take you out of the running. They have that mindset, but very, very young and sometimes a little undisciplined. But Ndamukong Suh, this is the reason why you are not a pass rusher. And you cannot have the difference in the pass rush ability that the Rams front has had and the difference in them not being able to defend the run. When you get in a playoff game like this, playing at home, that defensive front of the Rams have to make up their mind that Ezekiel Elliott is going to be a long day. You're going to get 20 carries, but you're not going to be 7-0 like they have been once he's touched the ball 20 times, Nick.
Listen, and I just don't think the Rams are built for that as well as the Cowboys are built for it. And by that I mean
built for stopping the run?
Correct. I think that.
But this is one game,
No, you're of course. I'm not saying they can't do it. In a one-game sample, they certainly have the athletes. You don't look at it and you're like,
you're worried about the personnel, maybe the linebackers matching up with those
exactly
defensive tackles.
Like
Okay,
because I look at the Cowboys front seven and I say, even if they do get Gurley out in space, they got some fast linebackers now.
Right.
Yes. They got guys that can go sideline to sideline as well as any linebackers in the league. We know how good that front seven, Crawford and Lawrence, had played in week 1 of the playoffs. So I feel like the Cowboys can come into this game saying, we're going to duplicate defensively what we just did against Seattle, eliminating the best run game in the NFL. The Rams are going to have to do something they might be built to do, but they haven't done all year.
Right.
Which is, you know what? We got 2 great corners. We're going to leave them in man-to-man. We're going to dedicate a lot of people stopping the run, and we're going to trust our talent. They have the personnel to where I think they can do it. They just haven't shown me they're going to do it.
If both of these teams can negate each other's run, you look at their quarterbacks, and you have Jared Goff and Dak Prescott, who a lot of people would say the jury's still out on both of these guys in their 3rd year. Very talented teams, still some questions about the quarterback. If it does happen to come down to these two, because Gurley and Zeke have been sort of slowed down, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, I like both quarterbacks, but I think at this point, I'm leaning towards Dak Prescott just because he has a lot more confidence in the playoffs. He played well last week. He did a very good job. He had the touchdown interception, but at the end of the day, and I spoke about this last week when I was on the show. That week 17, 44 attempts, 4 touchdowns for Dak, that provided some confidence. That confidence, momentum again that we're talking about, that provided him some confidence. That allowed him to go into the playoffs saying, I know and I feel confident in throwing the football down the field. I've watched Jared Goff get flustered, not being able to complete the ball deep down the field, him not wanting to check down to try to get yards down the field. I think Dak is comfortable with that. To your point earlier, I think Dallas is ready to play this nasty, dirty, physical type football game. I'm not sure if the Rams are ready to play that type of game. I'm not sure if they're ready to play football where you get a bunch of Zeke downhill, 25 carries to be able to tackle him every single play. I don't know if they're ready to play that game. We've seen Dallas play that game. They played it last week.
And if this matters at all, Dallas' season is already a wild success. To come from 3-5 to where they're in the final 8, they've already won a playoff game. They have done so many things to where even if they lose to the Rams, people would say, hey, this was a hell of a step in the right direction. If the Rams lose this game, then it's like, what the hell was the whole year about? Like, what has this McVay-Goff era been? It's been 11 wins, 1 and done in the playoffs at home. It's now going to be 12 wins, 1 and done in the playoffs, and go home like that. To me, that's real pressure on the Rams this game.
In the playoffs, you have to be willing to run the football and stop the run. I think Dallas is built to do both of those things, and they could do that successfully. I think they win this football game.
Brian, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. We'll talk some more. Got to take a break coming up. Could Dwayne Haskins go #1 overall? Talk about that next on First Things First.
Rams win 13 games. Did I get that wrong? 13 wins. Even more to the point.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.